Hello, everyone, and welcome to Canadians with Disabilities and Their Allies. My name is Brent Frain. I'm the host, and the show is also known as PWD Allies Podcast on your favorite app. You can check it out on Spotify, iTunes, you name it, you find it, and it'll be there. And today I have Patrick Hébert joining me, and to go down memory lane, and we're going to talk about Christmas past and present, and also have an update on Patrick's health condition. And here we go. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. And Patrick, how are you?
Good, thanks. And yourself, Brent?
Not too bad. You know, a busy time of the year, getting things underway for the festive season. And I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas as we broadcast live today, or if you're listening on the podcast. As you feel that whatever best app that you find it on, and I just want to people who are celebrating Christmas, or if you just say season's greetings, I say Merry Christmas, and Patrick, Merry Christmas to you, and
you.
all the best, for the rest of this season, and
this will be the last podcast before Christmas, so
yes, yeah, most definitely, and. Yeah, we just kind of look. It's kind of a different theme today. We're just going to look at like say past and present Christmases, and what's most important in your life of memories of what you cherish and in Christmas or of this season, and but first I'll maybe if you can give us an update on how you're doing, Patrick, with your health.
Oh, well. It's stable for now. The kidney is at stage 3 of kidney disease, so it's in good, I guess, stable shape, which is what I want. I don't want it to decline any further. The eyesight, though, is it fluctuates. I have what's called wet macular degeneration, and some people have age-related macular degeneration, where as you age, the retina and whatever doesn't age well. And with wet macular degeneration, it's like blood vessels that kind of appear on the back of the eye and cause problems with the retina. So for me, it's like looking through Swiss cheese. That's how it's been described, and it's pretty accurate. Like there's blind spots in central vision that I don't know are there until I go to, this afternoon I was going to grab a glass of water off of a white table, and it's a clear glass, and I couldn't see it. It was in front of me, but I couldn't see it. It's weird. Apparently, other people with this condition sometimes say that looking at the peripheral is better than central.
And the other thing that you can probably talk about too is it is something that fluctuates, you say, right? Like your vision loss you can have good good days and then bad days, or can we say that a good period can last for maybe a couple months, and then it will go down and then it will go up again? And is that proper to say, or is it basically good and bad days, more or less?
Well, what's weird is there are periods of time when it's fairly good, but lately it seems like I wake up and everything's blurry, And then by about 9 or 10 at night, I guess I'm learning to see again every day. Things are sharp enough to play a couple of video games, like
Okay.
on a, but not on a. I have to use a giant, like a 55-inch screen and sit about 3 feet away from it.
Okay.
So I'm not as quick on the draw at Battlefield as I used to be. So
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your screen name, and people will
nobody laugh.
you don't have to say, but
Nobody laugh. Nobody laugh.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that too, Patrick, with really small font. Like when I do my podcast for Zoom, when I use my iPad, if there's little fonts that are there and like little emojis, it's like, oh, I have to kind of really squint at them. Like I tap my screen, I'm like, okay, which is this? And I was doing a Zoom call the other day, and I kept hitting the wrong emoji. I'm like, no, that's not it. I'm like, hang on, and it was by accident, but at the same time it was like it's close enough but it's still far enough away. And so and then so sometimes it's like certain apps I find that you just can't blow them up, the emojis, and it's frustrating because it's like, well, it's like your mind says yes, you can do this, but your eyes are saying no. And my eye doctor even told me that too. It's like mind over actual vision, right? So and your mind's trying to tell you like, yeah, no, you can do this, and you try to force yourself to do more than what you're able to do, and that's just part of life, right? It's how we go with the flow in life, and we just accept it how it is. And I said, well, I accept my disability on how it is. He goes, exactly, and it doesn't change as we get older, as you mentioned. Yeah, I mean, things they start kind of a little wonky, and we just work with it, right? And always know that I'm always here, just to reach out and when you want to, chat and let's catch up. And
I appreciate it. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that about age. I've noticed that where I am with the CNIB, there's lots of stuff if you're a kid born with vision problems. But age-related stuff, there's it's and acquired disabilities, there's nothing really. Like I was saying to somebody the other day, there's no course on how to be blind. Like if you're a kid, you can go to a school in Toronto, and it's a boarding school specifically for the blind, and they'll teach you how to navigate life, how to read Braille, and like the whole 9 yards. If you're older and you something happens at work, or disease or whatever, really you're kind of on your own. There is a service called Low Vision Rehab, and it's part of CNIB. But here it's kind of piecemeal. Like you have to ask them for what you want to know. They don't have a that like A to Z sort of, here's what you need to get by, which would be very helpful. I mean, and I'm sure other disabilities are like that too, like acquired disabilities specifically.
I was going to say, Patrick, that I made the comment, I think 1 or 2 podcasts ago, that here in BC, we've had something called the Timmy's Christmas Telethon here, and I think it started in 1974, 1975, and I was one of the stage kids. They have the little parade of stage kids that you have up at the front, and then they bring out Santa Claus and give gifts and stuff. But I was talking to a friend of mine, he's the same age as me now, and he was saying, like going back like 50 years ago, the reason why they had shows like that is, and they gave gifts and they had like camps and stuff like that, is my friend was saying is that a lot of doctors and people in the medical community and such, they just assumed that kids with disabilities would all kind of die early, like they wouldn't reach at adult life, right? And I know that like I have to cerebral palsy, and I know, like, growing up with cerebral palsy, like, I never saw anybody old with my condition. Like,
Right.
I'm sure that I know there was.
Yep.
I know now.
Yep.
And I've seen a few now that are older with the condition. But when I was younger, like when I was, like, younger than 10, and like, and I was out in the grocery stores or shopping malls, I never saw anybody
Mm.
in crutches or wheelchair or anything.
Yeah.
I was like the only guy, and all the way through my school, I was the only guy. And it wasn't until there was one guy in a wheelchair in grade 10. There was finally one other guy, and then again in grade 11 and 12, I was the only guy with a disability again.
Mm.
Grade 11 and 12.
Hmm.
And
Oh, wow.
so I grew up thinking that, I'm just gonna die young, because
Yeah.
I didn't have any. There was no older people that I saw that were disabled, and we
Yeah.
all know it's because, a lot of people with disabilities were holed away in
Yep.
institutions
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. I was expecting to see, like, lots of people like me, and the only people I would see was when I would go into Geo Strong. We have Geo Strong here, which is a rehab hospital, basically, for
Mm.
physio and stuff. And so the only time I would see kids like me was if I went to Geo Strong, and you'd see
Mm.
other kids with, in wheelchairs or crutches, but I'd never see any, like, adults.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
something.
interesting on that. Patrick, I actually had a question for you. Actually, it was actually from Sonia, because Sonia actually asked me to ask you, like, for your diabetes, like, do you take any like, what kind of medications, like any equipment do you like? What was the question, Sonia? That you about devices? Do you
Uh,
have any devices at all, or?
yeah, I'm type 1 diabetic, so I got it when I was 16. So in my case, I have to take insulin. Um, I can't see well enough, or I was having difficulty seeing well enough to use the pump. Um,
Hmm.
but the technology has improved a little bit, so I think I might be able to use one of the tandem pumps
Okay.
maybe in the new year, but I have to learn how to carb count and everything all over again. So,
Is there
you
foods you
know,
have to avoid
um,
for type
probably
1 for you?
the right answer is probably yes, but
Yeah.
in my
I don't.
in my case,
Sonia doesn't.
I just take a bigger dose of insulin if I'm gonna
Yeah.
have something.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what she
And
does too. Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
also I use the Dexcom in blood monitor. It is a continuous glucose monitor,
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
and
a
it
G.
Yeah. Sonia's
yes,
got the G7.
I got the G6. They won't cover me for the G7.
Oh,
Um,
oh,
like ODSP, for whatever reason, they only cover the one, even though
oh.
the
Well, they need
G7 is
to.
actually cheaper.
Oh, wow.
It's stupid. They're stupid.
It's
They're
dumb. Yeah.
Oh,
Come on, Doug Ford.
they just
well,
covered it.
BC just covered it.
Maybe he needs to swallow another bee.
well, I
Oh,
yeah, I was
I did
hoping it was going to
five.
do some damage on the way down. I got to be honest. Anyways,
Yeah.
I got the Omnipod Dash.
Omnipod. Okay,
Yeah,
I
might.
looked at that. I use so much insulin that it wouldn't work for me because of the size of the reservoir.
Yeah, because it's only 2
Um,
units on it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. By the end of the third day, I only got like 20 units left out of it.
Mm. I,
Oh,
wow,
yeah.
I had a Medtronic years ago.
Hmm.
I had two of them, one and then another one after it aged out. And those were kind of cool because you could refill the reservoir and use the same infusion set a little bit longer. Um, as I recall, like the reservoirs you filled up. It was a little plastic sort of syringe like tube, and you filled it up and then you put it in the pump. and you could refill it a couple of times before having to actually change the infusion set back then.
Yeah, you just had a
Um,
top two, didn't you, Sonia?
Yeah, my Dexcom failed on me yesterday when I went to put it on.
Ooh,
Ooh.
Like 5 minutes later, it beeped. It said sensor failed. I'm like
sensor failed.
freaking out, and
Hmm.
I just went and
Yeah.
ordered
So she had to go and get another one. They gave her like was it three boxes or something? And
3.
and so then
They last 10 days.
yeah, 10 days, and then of course the one failed. She just put one on. So now she's only got one left, and they were like so they had to override it, right? And go, okay, fine, like because it's like going, well, if we don't give it to her, well then
So they'll be
Yeah.
putting Dexcom.
Well,
he says, can I go back to the 6? And they're like, no, we're actually moving everyone over to the 7 anyway.
oh,
Continue the
They're
6.
gonna just continue the 6. So, and meanwhile, the 6 she had no problem with it. But yeah,
I've had issues with mine.
Oh.
I've had a number of issues with my 6, like the transmitter failing and sensors failing.
7 is
Well, I was talking to my diabetes doctor, and they were saying that the G7 is a lot like the Libre 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Libre is covered 100%. So I don't know. I may switch to that because Libre 2 is continuous as well. But the Dexcom is supposed to work with the tandem somehow. Like the G6 is being approved to work with the tandem to kind of automate decisions about whether to suspend insulin or like if you're having a low, it's supposed to shut off, which is a big safety improvement. Yeah, the G7 doesn't have it yet apparently. It's a 2-step process, so it's fine as long as you're not unconscious.
I have to win the lottery to get that.
Yeah.
I hear your dog back there. He's making growling noises.
Well, there's 2 of them. They're
2 of them.
they're
okay.
wrestling. They're wrestling.
they're
Yeah.
looking.
The
They're looking
one
for their.
is
Go ahead.
one is 75 pounds, and he picks on the 150-pound one, and the
Oh.
150-pound one puts up with it. It's amazing that he doesn't clobber him or sit on him.
They say they're looking for a wrestling match, is what they're looking
Yeah.
Which brand of insulin do you use?
I was using I used Tresiba for long acting, and for the short acting, I'm on True Rappy now, but before I was on the Fiasp.
How is that?
Fiasp was excellent. True Rappy, it is slower. It's like rapid instead of like Fiasp is instant. Like I could take it at meals and it would kick in within a half hour. With the rapid, it's not peaking in your system for 2 hours after you take it. So
okay.
I have a lot of spikes, and it's unfortunate because the True Rappy is the only one that the ODSP government program will cover.
I have Admelog.
Okay.
We used to have Hemalog, but they discontinued that and put Admelog on it.
It's cheaper.
It was cheaper.
Government says it's cheaper.
Is
generic
there a
drugs.
lot of cost difference between the 2?
Well, all I can say is that with True Rappy, it's 100% covered, and with the other one, the Fiasp, that's the one that's by Novo. I was able to take that and get a box for $20. So that was the portion that wasn't covered. I have private insurance as well as the government one. I got it because I have permanent disability through my dad's work, so I get it for life. But I found that money's tight, and if I can save $20 a box on insulin, I will. So I asked the doctor to switch me to the one that's covered, and I don't know. I may go back because $20 may be worth it to have faster acting, like to have better control. I don't know. I just take such monster doses of insulin now. It's kind of hard to know which to use.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's how technology's changing, like how certain devices are going to work more effectively on how much insulin that's how to incorporate everything in and how you adjust to it all, and Wow, just that little magic little pill or something, you'll just fix everything.
Wouldn't that?
Yeah, wouldn't that
Does
be
your
nice?
ODSP cover the tandem or any costs at all?
If it's actually covered partly by there's a federal program that covers the pump. Um, I forget what it's called, but it's not so much Ontario government as the federal program that covers diabetes type 1 diabetes supplies, um, pumps in specific, I believe. As far as the ODSP, I have to get special approval to get it. So, it's 2 steps. I got to go through ODSP and thankfully the doctor will help me with it. But
Yeah.
generally,
all the hoops to keep
Yeah,
jumping
that's
through,
good.
right? To
yeah,
get the right stuff that you need to have covered. I know. I just
exactly.
wish there was a simpler process just to, all that red tape. Just give me a big pair of scissors and I'd cut that red tape.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I am thankful for what I have because
Oh, yeah.
I spent a long time as a self-employed person making just too much money to qualify for any program of help. And before I had permanent coverage, there was years that I would ration my insulin because I couldn't
Oh,
afford,
Yeah.
and that's the reality for a lot of people that, are working poor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. To me, it's kind of a joke when we try and, as Canadians, say we're so great with our universal health care because it's bullshit. Pardon me. If you're not covering the pills and the meds, it's not universal health care.
Yeah.
I had
It's
my insulin
you know,
before.
It's still tiered. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what was that?
the doctors are basically just drug dealers. Let's get it. They're
Yeah.
just
Like Sonia
yeah.
had to pay for her
Insulin
her insulin before too,
until the NDP got in.
until the current government got in and they changed that. So she's very
Yeah.
grateful for that
Mhm.
because I mean it was a huge cost for her,
like
like
20, 30, 20,
20, I think
$27, I think.
$28, I think it was. Yeah, $28 a time. Yeah,
Mm.
and so that was adding up a lot per month. I mean,
Was that on the pens or the vial?
pens.
Oh wow. I remember buying Rapid. I was out and about and I had left my meds at home and it was far away. So I had to go to a Walmart and they charged me like 80 or $100 for a 5-pack of the Rapid pens.
oh,
That
wow.
was before the generics was available, I believe.
The background insulin was free, but the rapid acting wasn't.
Huh.
Partially covered, but
not fully. Like,
That doesn't make any sense.
I know.
No.
It's like if you're going to cover something, cover it. Like, don't just do part cover and then,
Well,
Well,
and the shorts.
if it doesn't make sense, it must be government.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean,
unicorn.
the thing that I find incredible is we all know that, preventative, what is that old saying? An ounce of prevention is worth a
Yeah.
pound of cure.
Mhm.
And I think cynical me thinks it's because governments know they're only in for 4 years at a time. So, why make a decision that's going to affect people 50 years or 30 years or whatever? It's not their
Mhm.
problem. They'll kick it down the road,
Mhm.
I think they're only in it for their next vote, really. So, the soundbite in the next vote. I could be wrong, but like this pharmacare thing and the dental care that's coming, I don't hold my breath, like
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure,
there's,
I'm sure it'll be watered down if it ever does come. It'll be watered
well,
down
yeah,
somehow.
because the businesses are going to have their say, and how many billions of dollars are at stake if suddenly people don't need to pay for private health insurance anymore.
Mhm.
Like Manulife's not going to like it very much.
well, especially even the dental care. Apparently, they're starting with seniors at 87 years old.
Oh, so yeah, you already have your dentures, I guess.
Yeah.
Free
But I mean,
denture cleaning.
everyone else apparently is much later into 2024. And I think people with disabilities are at the end of the line on that one, but who knows when? Like that's the thing, right? It's the who's going to qualify and how much. What are they going to cover? I mean, are they going to cover everything that you need done? I mean, is it going to get clawed off? Provincial. Is it? I mean, like say, well, you're getting it here, so you're not going to get it there, or you're going to get.
Well, the way I see it, I guess I can see their perspective from the like I had a dentist that was totally against making it a public service because they can charge what they want right now. If there's a really good dentist that does all the cosmetic stuff and they can make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Oh, yeah.
And if you cut them back to, the same OHIP or whatever the BC health plan is, they're going to be a set fee and that's all they're going to get. And I can see why, if you go from making a really good wage and then all of a sudden, you're not going to make that anymore, you could be pretty upset. Not to mention, the school is expensive, right? To become a dentist. So
I was gonna say, like, I'm really blessed because I have a dentist I still go to in Langley that covers everything that the province doesn't.
Oh, wow.
And just out of the kindness of their hearts, they're doing it, kind of thing.
Mhm.
But you're right. I mean, to be totally fair, I mean, the cost of becoming a dentist is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, not only that, they actually have to pay out of pocket all of all of the equipment in the office. They're paying out of pocket for. They pay out of pocket for all of the staffing, everything. So it's a huge, like, they don't get any kickbacks from the government on any of that stuff.
No.
So that is why it is huge money. So it's because it's huge money that they're putting in on all the equipment and everything.
Yeah. And then there's the fee schedules that the governments in each province are not keeping updated on they call it the fee schedule, and it hasn't been kept up to date according to what the dentists charge on their fee schedule. In BC, ours is I was told it was like 2018 fee schedule that dentists actually have there. So when they, as an example, if you have say you need to have a tooth pulled, well, or a cavity or something. Well, now there's that dollar figure is going to be getting up there pretty good, right? Now,
labor has gotten expensive.
Yeah,
for the last few years.
With the BC, just for instance, the fee schedule will say, well, in 2018, this is what it would cost. Well, now the dentist says, well, no, this is what it costs. So now they're going to take more out of your insurance plan to cover that, and so it just dwindles it down very quick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, there are dentists in BC, like, in Victoria, for instance, there's only, I believe, just a couple right now that will actually give you a substantially reduced dental office fee amount that you have to pay. Other ones are over $100. There's some in the lower mainland that actually will do it. They'll absorb the cost, like Neil was mentioning. They will absorb the cost because they really care about the patient's well-being, their health, and they know they're going to make the money back from other patients too. There's other ones that'll just gouge you at the office and like a huge amount. There is one in Nanaimo that Sonia had gone to. It was free, but they canceled her appointment 1 hour before her appointment was supposed to be, and traveled all the way out there, and it's like good just over almost 4 hour transit ride by the time you connect make connections. And then they said, well, day before, just a confirming your appointment, no problem, we'll see you tomorrow bright and early in the morning. So we get there, guess what, it's canceled.
Not right.
No.
Right at all.
And I mean, there's some really good dentists out there, though. I mean, they really care about their patients' well-being, and they'll say, I remember them telling me, Brent, you need to hang on to that tooth. It's really important. You really got to hang on to these two teeth here and these ones over here, so we can bridge them together eventually. And guess what? Oops, it was a crack.
Well, bad teeth. If you have bad teeth, it really affects your health, like in a big way, right?
Well, they say there's a link between dental care and oral health and your heart disease. There's some kind of link between the two. And I was thinking just now, like, I get that it's a big expense to go from no coverage to fully covering everybody for dental care. But what would be wrong with just at least covering hygienic, the dental
Yeah.
hygienist, like
Mhm.
cleaning? If everybody got a free cleaning a year, I'm sure that would improve health
Yeah.
across the board.
Yeah, I mean, I always look at preventables, like you were mentioning, Patrick. It's like you give the people the tools and the resources that they need, and the income. They can better their health in so many ways. They can buy
Yeah.
more nutritional food. They can eat healthy. I mean, wow. But yeah, it's like saying, well, I mean, and this is nothing against the federal government, right? I mean, you launch a national dental plan. I mean, that's great. But what if you don't have, that's great. If you don't have the money to buy a healthy food, how is that going to help you with your
Yeah.
teeth?
Mhm.
So it kind of goes, coincides with each other. And that kind of goes into my segue into the Canada Disability Benefit, right? I
Mhm.
mean, wow, I mean, that thing's just been dragged on and on and on and on and on, but no temporary help because, well, we give temporary help. We're going to have to now delay the other program. And it's just excuses. I'm not buying
Oh,
it.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
No, don't hold your breath. You know
Yeah.
what? I was trying to think back to when the RDSP was launched
Oh,
in
yes.
2008. I'm trying to remember what government was in. I think it was Stephen Harper that was in at that
Think so.
point.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
it wasn't his government. I don't remember if it was his government that introduced it or not. Like,
Hmm.
I
it
think
might
it was
have
the
been.
prior one, actually. Yeah.
So it would have been Paul Martin and
Mhm.
whatever. I want to say Celine Dion, Stefan Dion.
Yeah.
My heart will go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
not doing so well apparently.
No, I
Yeah,
heard
Celine's
that.
sick.
Mhm.
Anyways, yeah. So I was thinking it was the Conservatives that got the credit for the RDSP, even though it was probably the previous government that put it all together.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I imagine that's what's going to happen with the Canada Disability. If it's a Polyev government next time, they might get the credit for whatever happens with the Canada Disability benefit. You never know.
Yeah, it just gets passed down the line. It's like, yeah, you deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not my problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it
Here-
totally. And so we'll blend into Christmas pastimes.
Mhm.
Uh, so what are some of your great memories that when growing up as a child, Christmas, like what does Christmas mean to you, Patrick, growing up when you were
Um,
a kid?
it was definitely happy times up until about 11, 12 years old. Um, like lots of family gatherings, seeing all the cousins and aunts and uncles and all that sort of thing. My grandfather, my mom's father, died when I was 11, and he was a party in himself. He made you feel welcome, made everything fun. And it was tough after that because he passed away like I think a week before Christmas.
Oh,
So,
wow.
it's kind of bittersweet, when Christmas
Mhm.
comes around. Um, and for my dad, he grew up in an alcoholic household, so it was not fun with a lot more drinking happening around Christmas, and you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
dad getting wasted and causing mayhem at home. So
Mhm.
it, I would say it was fun. It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Now I don't know. When I was working and making a good buck, I felt like I could buy more for people at Christmas.
Mhm.
Um, Now I don't have the kind of money to buy what I would like for people, and I guess that's kind of a problem too, that it's become all about what the presents are, and the
It's
the
very
commercial
commercial.
part of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we know that Coca-Cola invented Christmas the way it is now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Well, I
they
mean, on your last video, Brent,
Yeah.
I mean, the classic image of Santa Claus is
Yeah.
was invented by Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we
It
have
started.
proof of that in your last breaking with Brent. Yeah.
Yeah.
if you drink
Well,
enough Coca-Cola, you'll look like Santa Claus, I think.
That's
You
true too. Yeah.
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 In the part of the segment when I did with the breaking with Brent, I didn't get it in the footage, but there was a big the Coca-Cola bear. They had the
Yep.
Oh,
Coca-Cola
Yep.
yeah.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, but there was a lot of people around getting pictures done. So I wanted to snap, I so badly wanted to snap a photo, but all these people were around and I thought, no, they probably didn't want to be on the photo now. So I was trying to get an angle of the Coca-Cola bear. No, that's not going to work. Darn it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it kind of, you look like, you look back at that scenario and you say, well, how did that become like? And it's part of, I guess, as kids grew up, I mean, they always remember the Coca-Cola bear and Santa Claus and drinking that bottle of Coke, and yeah. So I always remember that too. And so like as you grew up, I mean, Christmas, it's like it kind of goes through phases, right? Of different income versus kind of childhood memories as it kind of back. I mean, and in comparison, it's like for me, like I can look at it as it's so commercialized now. But Christmas for me, I just value being around friends and family. And the gifts, it doesn't really mean a lot to me now. Like, well, I never really did, even when I was a kid. But now it's just like if I get something, great. If I don't, that's okay, because just knowing that people are around you. And
Sonia already told me you're not getting anything.
a lump of coal. Here you are.
Well, you know what? That'd come in handy for a lot of people in Tent City. A lump of coal will keep you warm for a while.
Exactly. And I always looked at it that way, as never expect anything. If you get something, great. If you don't, I mean, that's just the way it is. But being around family and friends. But when I was a kid, I'll give you just kind of a quick overview. So growing up, when I always looked for Santa Claus, the night before, I'd be all excited, thinking, okay, and you see a couple little things, gifts under the tree, and my mom would have an 8-foot tall tree. Actually, I think it was 9 feet, but they, ceiling's 8, so they had to cram it in. And so one of our neighbors had a tree farm, so they would have to kind of cut off the top of it so it fit actually inside the house. And of course, having my mom loved her cats, so they loved tinsel, which is really really bad for cats. I mean, but they would they would play with the tinsel and all the little ornaments on the tree, and they'd be getting their paws whack down these little ornaments, these balls, and she's like, "Oh, you stupid cats, get out! No, leave it alone!" And all the lights would be kind of dangling here and there, and boy, fun times. But I still remember seeing a couple of presents under the tree. My mom would do the best she could. She was a single mother, bringing up my brother and me, and she would just, well, what's that saying? What they call rob Peter to pay Paul? You know what I mean? But she would juggle things around so much, and there was times where she would say, "Well, what do you want for Christmas?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I just you." And I guess that's right, you. And she goes, "No, I mean, but seriously, what would you like?" And so I said, "Well, there's a Rubik's Cube I wanted." I still remember that. There was a Rubik's Cube, but there was a nice cassette tape that I really wanted. I really wanted this one. And she goes, "Oh, okay. So write it down on a piece of paper because I won't remember it." Okay. So I wrote it down. And of course, that's when my handwriting was a little bit better now. It's like, oh, it's like chicken scratch. But doctors do their stuff. So anyway, and there was some... it was a little pool that I wanted, just for outside, and a little plastic pool. So I remember getting, I got the little cassette tape that I wanted, and I got the Rubik's Cube, and then there was some clothing that I got. And I always loved clothing because, I mean, you can use it for so long, and I'd make these things last me. And, and just getting a few odds and ends. And that was, for me growing up, it was, I was so grateful. And get a little stocking with like little orange, like mandarin oranges and little stuff here and there. And that was the most meaningful part, I guess, out of Christmas, because like having the stocking of like, yay, everything else really, I just put into perspective, because my dad, he was told to leave. He was an alcoholic. And so I was about 7 years old, and I had to spend time with, at my mom's friends. She would drive me to school and drop me off, like, et cetera, et cetera. Have my meals there. And, well, I want to go home. you can't right now, right? There's your mom's busy, and that's what I was told. She was busy with a lot of things in her life, and but hey, this is fun. And so I spent a couple good months there. I think it was about 3 or 4 months. And there was one Christmas, Patrick, that I did spend at my mom's friends. And it wasn't the same. I was pretty upset because I didn't understand. Well, it was around that time where my mom told him, my dad at the time, he needed to now go. I stayed in touch with him as I grew up, and I became to understand, like, yeah, like what happened. And my mom was happier. Like she was so much happier in her life, and but she struggled a lot. And like she would take her jacket off to give to somebody if they needed it. Like shall we say, like she was very just so meaningful. Like put things into perspective of just giving to her neighbors. Like she would bake stuff. She would hand it out to her neighbors, cookies and bread, and and at Christmas. What they call it? She made this truffle. It was like it's an English truffle. She was an English lady, and she made this big bowl of truffle, and she would make it and hand it out to the neighbors, and because that's what she wanted to do. Yeah, it was actually really good. I must say. I can't find the recipe now. I'd have to look through, but I think I might even still have it somewhere.
Oh wow!
But, yeah, and then she made these basically a lot of canned stuff. Like she would make canned vegetables, but she'd make nuts and bolts, and she would put
that's my
spice.
favorite. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but she put major spice. Like she had just that knack to it, and everyone says, "I want your nuts and bolts." So she would actually start making them and make a batch, and someone would say, "Well, here's $5." Like she didn't want anything for it. She just wanted to do it as a goodness of her heart, and so people would give her $5 here, $5 there. So she started making huge batches of it. And like it was good. And so as I grew up, though, I just began to really appreciate Christmas. Like as yourself, like I was working full time. I was making some good money, which I thought was good money way back when the buying power was there. And then I worked for the Ministry of Education, Advanced Education and Technology, and I was making even way more. Like I was like, wow, like but I never took it for granted because I knew that was going to come to an end eventually. But I was able to buy myself things. I was able to buy my mom some meaningful things. One thing that I asked her one year, Patrick, what do you want for Christmas? She goes, I don't want anything, Brent. She says, just having you around me is the most beautiful Christmas present that I could ever have. And I thought, wow, it actually put a tear in my eye because I was like, wow. And I said, like, same thing. I kind of turned the table because I remember when I was a kid. So I said, but I want to do something for you. I had saved up enough money for my job. I sent her away on a vacation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I sent her over to England. And yeah, like I had enough money saved up over from my other job because I took a leave of absence at the time to do this other summer job working for the provincial government, advanced education. So I just kept on socking this money away. And it cost, I think it was like $9,000 I gave her.
Wow.
And so she was able to go, and she was away for like 2 months. But of course, the trade-off, guess what? Guess who had to look after all these dogs and cats and chickens? Yeah. But for me, that was the most beautiful gift that I could have given her. And I always cherish that in my heart, right? It's like saying, yeah. But going forward, in the last major trip that I did with her, it was actually before Christmas. We actually went to, we actually went down to California, and then we came back up. And then a couple of years later, I wanted to go at Christmas time. I really did, but she didn't want to go. That's just fine. She wanted to go back east to the Maritimes to see her family friend. So we went. So we went out in the spring. I hauled her on a Greyhound. Everyone watching this or listening to us, imagine a senior citizen, and Brent hauls her on a Greyhound all the way from Vancouver, all the way through the USA, all the way up to the eastern seaboard, and then up through Canada, up to the Maritimes. She started having some troubles on her last stretch of the leg. Like I said, well, we need to eat something for dinner. Like it was a rest stop, and I'm fine. And she was kind of shaking a little bit, and I thought, oh, are you cold? Are you cold? Or And so a little bit. And I said, well, maybe the bus driver changed the, temperature. So anyway, we got up, and then I found out she actually had uh, the onset of her condition of Parkinson's disease.
Oh, geez.
Okay, and I didn't know. Like, I figured like she was shaking it. She was cold, and it was a little bit cool on the bus. So I, and so I always cherish these things from years ago. But I mean, as a Christmas thing, like I had sent her a beautiful gift card in a when I wasn't living at home. I had moved away, and so I sent her a bouquet of flowers and chocolate. She loved her chocolate, Patrick. She loved her chocolate. Oh, she was a chocoholic. So I said, well, I'll give you that because the doctor doesn't want you eating eggs, and he doesn't want you eating bacon. And then my doctor and I would always, family doctor, I'd always argue with him. I said, oh, for God's sake, doctor, just let her eat. I mean, let her eat what she wants. I mean, look at her age. I mean, he goes, no, that stuff's not good for you. It actually clogs the arteries and actually raises the cholesterol levels. And I said, oh, so, it's funny. It was right before Christmas time, Patrick. He had, I guess he had taken a little bit of time off, and he was actually a surgeon at the hospital too, right? So I was actually heading downtown to do some Christmas shopping, and there was a little cafe downtown, and I would drop in and have a cup of coffee and then just a little bit of breakfast the odd time. And I had some time off work myself, and guess who's sitting in the cafe? And this is like 2 days before Christmas, and the doctor's sitting there reading a newspaper. I thought, corner of my eye went by, wait a minute, is that him? I thought, no, Brent, but don't bug this guy. He's eating breakfast. I was standing over top of Patrick, and I said, hey, doc. He goes, look, Brent. He goes, well, bacon and eggs, eh? Oh yeah, you got them scrambled. A little bit better for you, I guess, eh? Rather than the yolky eggs. He goes, oh, crispy bacon. Did you get an extra side of that? No. Doc, here's your bacon's ready. I go, actually, it looks like you did. So him and I got into a little battle. I said, so yeah, kind of a hypocrite, right? I mean, But anyway, I mean, getting back to it, it's I look back and I just cherish all the different memories I've gone through because, and I just look at person's well-being and like the their general health overall is like saying appreciate everything at Christmas, and family and friends around you, like because you never know how things can change. A good friend of mine, which Neil's met too. He had lost his mom. Around Christmas, a couple of years ago. So we actually went out and spent some time just recently. Sonia and myself actually stayed at his father's place. He has his own unit in the house, and his dad's upstairs, and it was nice. Yeah, it was really nice. And so I mean, like, cherish that time, right? I mean, and if I hadn't made it, I would have just made a Zoom call or used a Messenger or whatever it is, and because it's almost like video, right? Yeah, I mean, past and present, and just cherishing Christmas, and just knowing that people are around you that care, and yeah.
Yeah, we do know that there are, as Patrick has alluded to, there are some family situations that aren't always the best, right?
Yes.
But in those situations, that's when you kind of manufacture the family. Hopefully you can manufacture the family that you want to surround yourself with, right? I mean, if you have a family member or two that's not stepping up to the plate, hopefully people can find other people to fill in those gaps, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And
because
and
it's
like you say,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just gonna say it's important to enjoy it while it lasts because I heard a stat. I forget where it was, but something like 1 in 5 men in the United States, I believe it probably translates to Canada, have nobody, like not a single soul
oh wow,
in their life. Like 20% of men, and it's probably not quite as high with women, but still up there. Just for whatever reason, there's a lot of us that just don't get a group of friends or family or mate or anything. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's a new epidemic of loneliness.
Yeah.
It's, and I find with the disability, particularly with my vision, I don't like going out after hours because I can't see.
Right.
Uh,
It is kind of isolating to have something, and to spend most of your time at home.
Mhm.
Uh, so I can see,
Yeah,
it would.
like even in my case too, I was like, I recently broke my hip
Mm,
at the
yeah.
beginning of the year. It
Mhm.
was at the end of January when I broke it.
That's
And even just, I mean, I can still walk and everything. That's not an issue, but I'm not walking with my crutches anymore.
mm,
And so, I used to be able to no problem get upstairs, go to anybody's house and go up some flight of stairs or whatever.
yeah.
And now if anybody's got stairs, I mean, that's out now.
yeah.
I don't even attempt it now. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm,
like, yes, I have a wheelchair and I can get out in a wheelchair now that I have the wheelchair, the manual chair.
Mhm.
But, I'm not as mobile as getting up and downstairs. So I'm still
yeah.
like, you do kind of isolate yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Well, I find that too, and it's like I never take things for granted now. Like when it comes physical, like for physical things, it's I mean, I've told the story many times, but just kind of I'll do like a quick overview of it. It's like, yeah, I injured myself on a job at a corporate store that I worked at. Never did I think, and I kept pushing myself, thinking, no, it's nothing. Like, yeah, Brent, you can do this. I mean, you probably are. It's just, yeah, whatever. And I kept going.
Mm,
And what happens when you do that? You're down escalating a huge problem, a severe problem, and I escalate it into a beyond severe situation where, well, they always say if you hurt yourself, it's always the next day that you feel
mhm,
the impact. Well, it was so bad, like mine didn't even. It started tweaking into the evening, and I was like, oh man, like why is my back's just killing me, like should we say, like
mhm,
it was just, and I thought, okay, I just did a little bit of heavy lifting. Okay, I probably Brent probably don't want to do that again, and maybe not as much heaviness. And I thought, yeah, I can do this, and, um, and I took Tylenol, and I remember taking like two extra strength Tylenol before I went to bed because it was like, and it was bad. I
mm,
couldn't even get out of bed. I couldn't even feel my arm. I couldn't even feel my leg. I literally fell out of bed
mm,
because I didn't realize that like, yeah, like I was trying to get out and I lost my balance and then down I went. I was like, what the heck? And
mm,
I and automatic, I guess automatic reflex is that I had tears kind of running down, but I wasn't crying, but it was just, I guess, the pain. And it was just, and
yeah.
it started to make me tear up. I'm like, what the
Mm,
heck? And
mm,
yeah, I knew there was a serious problem, and I went to get treatment. And so moving forward, yeah, like I realize now that if I'm healed up, but warned that you got to be so careful now because any repetitious movement like that and twist around and rapidly twist around and lift up, yeah,
mhm,
you don't want to do that. And I used to fall all the time on my knee when I ride my bike. I used to fall off my bike
mm,
and hit my knee all the time. And the doctor says, "Oh, eventually you're going to have to get the cartilage taken out of your knee, out of there." I'm
mm.
like, thinking, nah, thanks, doc, but I don't think so.
Well, I think it was in one of the last episodes we did. We were talking about the art of falling. Who was
Mm,
Mm,
and
yeah.
having cerebral palsy my whole life, I actually have always been really good at knowing how to fall. It's kind of like that spidey sixth sense kind of
Yeah.
thing,
yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
where like or the kind of it was almost like the matrix effect where everything kind of slows down and
Mm,
Mhm.
like you can actually, I was like, oh, I'm falling, and everything just kind of slows down and you're like, put your
You can
arms,
step into a certain
and
way.
it was really weird. So so I've always been really good at knowing how to fall, but that that one time
Yep.
in January, it only takes one time to mess up, and You
Yep.
know, and I told you, I was coming back and I was doing a good thing. I was coming back from a massage, so I was super, super relaxed, and that was, you know, of course, that was the downfall, right? It was just too relaxed, kind
Yeah.
of spacey, and that's what happened. So I went to wash my hands coming back from the massage, and my hands were a little bit wet, and I grabbed my crutch and you know, I just slipped off the crutch and down I went like a ton of bricks. And so that's the one time. I mean, I've always fallen really well, and I've
Yeah.
never really injured myself. And you know, it takes one time to mess up, and that's all it is. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then he was sitting in the emergency ward for, oh God, that was so long.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
God.
No, I remember we had to put the podcast on hold a little bit.
Yeah, we
early.
did. Yeah, it was on
Yeah.
hold for a good while there, and
Yeah.
but you know that health is number one, came
Yep.
first.
Yep.
You know, and that's why I say I always look at never like things and just never take things for granted and just cherish everything around me. And like I had lost my mom, and I was adopted, so I used to have two moms. Basically, people are like, what, two moms? Yeah, one a mom and a mother, right? So but I had the best of, I guess, the best of both. My mom was the best. I mean, yeah, but my mother, I shouldn't say my mother wasn't the best, but I mean, growing up, I always thought my mom was my mother. So yeah, and I learned that when I was 12 years old, that yeah, you were adopted, Brent. So yeah, people always just think like, wow, that's neat. Actually, that's pretty cool. I go, yeah, it is actually. And at first, I was really confused because I'm like, okay, so you're not my mom? No, I am. I'm your adopted mom. So my aunts would come by and visit me, Patrick, and that's one lady who's as I got older, then I realized, hey, she's actually my mother. She's like, how are you? Like, oh, I said, oh, my aunts are all here. My grandma was there, and I spent some time at my grandma's for Christmas. That was pretty cool. I cherish those memories too. Yeah, she was a really nice lady, and she taught me that just to always stand up for what I believe in. My grandma had told me, and I always remember to cherish those memories. And she says, if you think something's not right, Brent, you need to speak up and say that no, it's not right, and just go with it. And she used to come by, and my mom and my mother in the same room, right? They'd be talking, and I said, "Oh, Brent, don't be jumping on those chocolates. I mean, yeah, make room for you. Sure, you're hungry for dinner. I'm fine." And my grandma would be like, "Brent, did you want this? Did you want this? Oh, here, just turn this way and here, come over here." I'm like, "Chomp, chomp, chomp."
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, of course, grandmas always spoil the kids, right? And
Yep.
yeah, but I spent a lot of time in the Okanagan at my mom's brother's place, and he was a head chef, and then his son was a chef too. And you could always hear them bickering and stuff when you were a little kid, right? Here's, oh, stop it, Charlie, stop it. Oh, of course, he'd get into having a few drinks, and they'd be all the family, this and that, and he'd be cooking stuff up, and he just wanted to be left alone in the kitchen, and his wife would come along, and he'd say, "Get out of here!" And I'd be grabbing the eggnog, and oh, no, Brett, no, that's the wrong eggnog. You need that eggnog. Oh, I want that one. No, that's an adult eggnog. You can't have that. Oh, what? And I'm thinking, well, I didn't realize, but that was right there. So I kind of scooped it, right? You know, remember the Chevy Chase one? Remember
Right.
scooped it in there? Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I had a ladle. I didn't know when I scooped it in. I'm like, ooh, whoa, that's not this eggnog. No, Brent, you need to have that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my first wife, you know, she's been gone for over 10 years now, and she was adopted, and so my mother-in-law, like I still have a almost daily relationship with her, though. It's cool. Go to church with her every Sunday, and it's fun to still have that connection to her, like all these years later. It's cool. And but you know, and that's what I was gonna say too. Like my biggest memory for me at Christmas was the family dinners. It wasn't the presents. I mean, the presents were cool too, but it was getting it was all the aunts and uncles and grandma and grandpa and everybody all sitting around there was about 20 of us, and it was cool, and then
Oh yeah.
but as you get older, like, of course, people get married off and splinter off, and then you see, the table gets still a little bit smaller and smaller and smaller because everybody's doing their own thing. So, I mean, the times that I really remember the most, though, is like probably, before I was a teenager or just, early teens. We still had a fairly big table, but then after getting up there in the teens, everybody starts to splinter off. But the early dinners, I just remember, like, as a youngster, like, everybody all crowded around the table with the with the paper hats, the Christmas crackers and the paper crowns,
I used to love that.
That was great times,
Well, one thing that I also remember too, which I was going to mention, is there was one Christmas, and I said to my mom, and of course I didn't realize that they of course they would chit chat back and forth, communicate, between those two. And I said to my mom, I go, she goes, what would you like for Christmas? I go, I would love it. I said, is that we could spend Christmas all together. She goes, oh, Brent, I don't think that would work too well. And then I would talk to my mother, and of course over there for a couple Christmases too, which seemed I felt very strange for me at first, because I always spent time Christmas with my mom. Anyway, I managed to arrange it where I spent Christmas with both of them one year, my mom and my mother.
Yeah. And how did that go?
That was actually, because they both got along extremely well. And there was time that rocky time when I was a child, though, that my mother tried to get custody of me, and I didn't learn that until I was a little bit older. Yeah, and so I knew there was a tension, but I didn't know what. But they got along really well. But my mother buried that because she didn't want me to know that, right? She didn't want it to hurt me. But I found that out. Actually through her husband, who had told me kind of quietly, says, "Do you remember when you were a kid? Anything?" I go, "Yeah, just my mother would come over to visit, and I always thought that she was my aunt. No, she was your mother, but they were negotiating about child custody and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, what was that about?" And then all of a sudden she came out, of the room. "Oh, what are you talking about?" Like, I would always get along with him really well, right? It's like I call him my stepdad. "Oh, what are you two young men talking about?" He goes, "Oh, not too much." And oh, okay. And I think she knew that was something going on, and because she heard, and she goes, "Anyway, Brent, did you want to go and see that movie that you were wanting to go and see?" I'm like, "I was going to see it tomorrow." "Okay, well, I'll get him to drive you up." I said, "No, you know what? I'll walk up there." I knew that they were going to have a huge argument, right?
Oh, geez.
It was my real mom and my stepdad. So, and I know she came down, like, how dare you bring up that topic? Like, he's not supposed to know this. And I knew something was going on. And I was just a teenager at the time. So I'm thinking, hey, cool. I get to go to the movie theater. Yeah, I'll walk up. Yeah. So, when I got home and I told my mom about it, she goes, "Is this true?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "Then why didn't you tell me about it?" Like, then, and so my mom and I always, I was able to communicate really well with her. Like, and her and I would just sit down, and she would kind of vent with me what the things that were bothering her. And but just cherishing that moment of time, one Christmas together, like they're all together. And my brother, he kind of went his own way in life. So even to this date, like, I don't talk to him. Like, it's unfortunate, but that's just the way life goes sometimes. And by just cherishing the people that are around you, like I say, it's not how much you get, how much you have, what you can buy. It's the moment of time, in that moment of time.
Yeah, what you can give out to others.
Yeah.
I was noticing your dogs. What did your dog give you the remote?
No,
yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
you pick up the remote. It looked like your dog
Yeah.
actually gave you the remote.
I
There.
was
like,
I was
that's
reaching
cool.
for
That's pretty
him,
cool. That's cool. Yeah.
And
To train the dog to turn
also,
the
also your dogs were like almost doing the the jingle bells, the dog jingle bells. That ruff,
oh
ruff, ruff.
Jingle Bell Rock.
yeah, I was about to threaten to spray them. My big dog really hates any kind of spray, like just water in a little pump bottle,
Mhm.
mist. He hates it. I don't know why. He's a giant, 150 pounds, but
Oh,
yeah, George does not like getting wet. So uh, if you want him to shut up, all you have to do is threaten to
So
spray
he's
him,
got
and
that.
that
He's
seems.
got kind of got that cat behavior then.
Yeah, I don't know. I think my
Yeah.
cat likes water more than he
Oh,
does.
really?
So
Wow.
oh.
yeah, it's weird. It's,
Yeah.
it's really weird.
Maybe the cat likes maybe the dog's water dish and it jumps in. I can see what happens there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We've reached the top of the hour. I didn't know if you wanted to keep going or start wrapping up, or what's time like?
Yeah. How's the time on that, Patrick? Did you want to go for a few more minutes or?
A few more minutes, sure.
Yeah.
I do have to get going at what time is it? About
5 after 2 right now.
Yeah. Okay.
5
So
after
maybe
2. So
about 10 more minutes.
yeah,
We'll wrap
sure,
up.
sure.
Okay.
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
sounds good. And yeah, definitely. There's a lot more population here in British Columbia now than there used to be. I've noticed that over time.
Mhm.
Yeah, like even in Victoria, the capital city of BC, where I am, there's huge amount of people here now. Like, I think there's estimated over 1 million people now have come into Canada over the last few years. No, it's crazy.
Yeah, I heard it on the news the other day that the census or stats Canada says we're now at about 40.5 million people.
Yeah.
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 It seems like it was 35 not that long ago, and they say the
So
majority
there's
of
like
it,
1 million people, and then they say, "Well, we're building 25,000 houses."
yeah,
Like, yes,
BFG.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
25,000 houses for 1 million people. Nice.
yeah.
And that's gonna make it affordable. No, it's not
Well,
definitely.
you know what they could really do? They used to do it like way back, way back when we were stealing land from, the other people that lived here first. But they used to do land grants, to
Mhm.
people that promised to farm the land or build on it or whatever. And I
Yeah.
learned that there are still communities in Canada where if you agree to develop a property, like there's places in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, where if you agree to build a home that's worth, say, $250,000, then
Mhm.
they will allow you to have the land for like $1. This was going back a few years, like 5 years,
Yeah, I
but
remember.
it's still there are places like Brandon, Manitoba, where all those kids died in the crash from the hockey team.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to live there now. Like it's and there's small communities like that where it's so negative population growth that they're just trying to get people to move there. So basically free property, and as long as you agree within so long to build a house that's worth so much. So I don't know if they did that today, opened up the north a little bit, it might encourage people to find their own piece of the pie.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
for
Especially
those
if
that,
someone wants to see snow, then yeah, that's where they go.
well, you know what? I think with global warming the way it's going, the north is going to be temperate. It's going to have 4 seasons just like the rest of Canada. In fact, it might be more fertile to grow in than
Mm.
than the drought-stricken prairies when you look at the way the weather's moving.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, right now, like it's like we're in an El Nino season, but I just think that that's going to continue. I mean, we might get some flare-ups of really cold air come rushing in, but like plus 10 degrees. I mean, and we're like December 21st right now. It's 10
Yeah,
degrees out.
it's quite warm out right
Like
now.
last night we got
Yeah,
down to degrees overnight. Like wow.
Mhm.
I saw something. I don't know if it was BC. I saw it, or maybe in Alberta, but they were talking about how there wasn't the same amount of base snow as there usually is in the
Yeah,
mountains, and it's
yeah.
a huge
Check
problem
out.
for like irrigation later, like
Oh yeah.
because there's not going to be the melt to to hydrate everything. So
Oh yeah,
it's
no
it's all
runoff.
connected,
We had the worst season for like drought this last season. It was just so hot everywhere, and I think pretty well that's going to escalate more and more. And yeah, you're right. I mean, who knows? I mean, up north, like northern areas, I mean, more development, and that might be the key, And
Well,
yeah,
who'd think that Yellowknife would have had such a fire that everybody had to leave? Like
it's
Yeah.
you never think of Northwest Territories or Yukon as being a place where forest fires hit, but I
Yeah.
guess it makes sense. Dry timber in the cold weather, and I suppose they're not getting the same amount of rain or snow that was normal. So,
Mhm.
but they say that's a big part of the climate problem is as the north starts to thaw, the permafrost layer will release methane, and
Right.
that's the real sort of global warming problem. Is CO2 sucks, but methane is really bad. Um,
Mm.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely with the ice melting up there too, eh? It's I feel sad for the polar bears, right? I mean, yeah,
well, and
yeah.
you gotta the way with the bears. I don't feel too bad when they go into town and start looking for food because what they normally ate is not thriving anymore.
Mhm.
Um, we're kind of moving into their territory, so
Mhm.
it makes sense that they'll be around.
Mhm.
I agree with the neighborhoods though, where they say that feeding the bears will get you a fine. It makes sense
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you don't want people getting hurt. You don't want the bears to get hurt. So
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
keep them
Yeah.
apart.
Around my neck of the woods, we have have a lot of deer around here. We have deer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have lots of deer. We see them almost on a regular basis around here, and there was a whole family of them the other night, last
Oh
night.
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty
Wow.
cool. Yeah.
I remember we were on a family trip out to Jasper, and we took a motorhome and drove across the country. And in Jasper, they have a lot of deer, and there's
Mhm.
deer poop everywhere.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like little balls. It's just
Yep.
it's almost as slippery as the goose stuff, Like
Well, I remember one time my parents took me to a provincial park, and I forget exactly where it was, but they had all these rabbits. And
Oh yeah.
like
oh wow,
at first, like you just saw a few rabbits, you go, well, that's cute. But then you realize the place is overrun. Like there was
oh
literally
wow,
hundreds of rabbits. So
Oh yeah.
literally everywhere you stepped was rabbit turds, like everywhere. So there was like literally shit
Oh
everywhere.
no.
So you had shit on your clothes,
Oh.
shit on the food, shit and it was like, this is not fun anymore, right?
Oh
yeah,
no.
It's like after the first like minute of being
Oh
there,
no.
like you pull up, you go, oh, that's cute, a couple of rabbits, and it's like then you realize that this place is overrun with rabbits. This is not fun
wow.
anymore. Yeah.
In Nanaimo,
That
they've
that
got a lot of rabbits out there. I've seen maybe a couple out here, and that's all I've seen since we've been here. Yeah, lots of. I mean, they're just running rampant everywhere. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I also look at it as like talking about deer. Sonia told me this to mention something. She said they know her. The deer know her. They know like the voice. So as soon as she talks, all of a sudden they look and they don't run away. They kind of start slowly. And then she kind of move forward a little bit too. Some of the tame
Sonia's
ones.
the deer whisperer.
The deer whisper.
mm,
You
wow.
don't walk up to them. I mean, you can't pet them because they won't let you that
Oh, I want
close.
to pet
But
them so bad.
she wants to pet them so bad. She says,
Yeah.
but I said, no, you don't want to do
Especially
that.
their ears.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I want your dog to sing us out with jingle bells.
Oh.
Oh,
Ruff,
I
ruff,
don't know if
ruff,
that'll
ruff,
happen.
ruff, ruff,
Hey,
ruff,
Finley.
ruff, 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 ruff.
Oh, now he can't. Finley is a rescue. We got him when he was about 8 or 10 months old, and so that was just in February. He had his first owner, the husband or boyfriend, whatever, kicked him with a steel toe on when he was
Oh.
about
Wow.
8 weeks
Oh.
old, and fractured his pelvis. And So someone took him in and got him the care he needed to get him back to health, and now he just can't get enough of oh, yeah, he needs lots of rubs and reassurance.
Ruff, ruff,
He's good.
ruff, ruff, ruff,
Good
ruff,
boy.
ruff, 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 ruff.
What do you say? Oh, come on, Finn. Oh, Finley. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh,
He wants
you
to
coming
be
up?
on, he wants to be on
Oh,
camera.
yeah.
There you go.
Oh, look at that, Sonia.
Oh,
Give Daddy a big kiss.
oh, Finley, what are you doing to me?
Big dog.
Oh,
What are
yeah.
you doing? Oh, what?
The dog wants to
Oh,
sing.
what?
Oh, see,
oh.
we were talking about fur therapy earlier. This is fur
Yeah.
therapy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's more therapy for me or for him.
That's true. Yeah.
What do you want?
Wow.
I
think
remember
he probably
actually just before we go, I'll give a real quick story. I used to have a white shepherd. She was about 80 pounds or so, and again, I had her for like almost 10 years and got me through some a fairly kind of lonely period of my life. So it's kind of nice when you're at that time. I was working full time, so you get home and you're tired, and so I had nobody to come home to other than the dog. But it was so fun to have a dog greet you and like be excited to see you. And anyway, I remember though that I was going, I think I was taking some schooling at the time too. And I had something really important that I was doing, like some sort of paper thing. And it just had to get done. And so like where I had everything set up, I had the computer in front of me and I had my bed behind me. And the dog just, I was ignoring the dog basically all day. And she decided like, this is enough is enough. So she jumped on the bed, like right behind my head. And so I spun around and she did the same thing. As soon as I spun around in the chair, she put her paws right on my neck and like was leaning like leaning over like this, like had her back legs on the bed and was leaning over and then put her paws like this on and just started like kissing me like lean into me.
Yeah, enough is enough.
Yeah.
The dog wanted to give you a big hug.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. They're very affectionate.
Yeah. They are.
Yeah.
Hey, Finley. What?
What does Finley get for Christmas? A big bone?
Well, we've been trying to find a toy that will last. And with bigger dogs, they say stuff is designed to be chewed by aggressive chewers, but it's nothing we found, from the stuff that's pure rubber and Kong and all the other stuff. None of it lasts. Like I
used to get those little stuffed kind of bear things.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It was a dog toy, like it was designed as a dog toy, but I mean, she would just rip that apart in like a few days.
It doesn't even doesn't even take that long with our guys. George, the Saint Bernard, he can go through, like, he's got really strong jaws, as you can imagine the size of him.
Oh yeah.
He destroys like one of those stuffed bears in less than an hour. It's so you don't waste your time or money. If we still had some thrift stores here, we'd probably buy them, because you used to be able to get them for like a quarter, a bag of them for $2. And
I remember getting a stuffed toy of the Garfield when I was a kid, and my dog would love to munch on things, and well, I came home and Garfield had to get some stitches done, so yeah. Just remember that. Wow, that was a big Garfield too. It was a huge, it was like about 3 feet or almost 4 feet tall.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bigger
Do
than
you
life
remember
size.
those?
I was always bigger than me, actually.
Do you remember that? I forget how old I was, but it was on TV. There was a doll they were trying to sell for kids called My Buddy, and the thing was like 3 feet tall. It was
Oh
it
yeah.
was like a mannequin almost. It was kind of creepy, actually.
Yeah, I think I remember
Oh,
that actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Jeez.
weird.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
It's kind of like a big Cabbage Patch, I guess, giant.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, it was great having you on, Patrick.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to have you on in the very early part of 2024. Can't
it
believe it's
sounds
already
good.
almost 2024 already. Almost.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
This
Season
year's gone
2.
by.
It'll be season 2 of the podcast.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
this is year 2 for you, Brent, and I
Yeah.
realize, but
Yeah.
this will we're entering into season 2 of on here.
On here, yeah.
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 Yeah. It's looking well. I'm really looking forward to this coming year. Just changing up the theme a bit. Right now, like we're doing like a nine part series, Patrick, on like the lived experience stories on Mondays, and when that one runs out, we're going to be doing more themes, things of like is it transit, is it about housing, whatever it may be. Not sure the wording that we're going to use on it yet, but really focusing on the guests that come on, and and having still like regular one-on-one guests, but having like guests just come on, just distinctly talking about what whatever it is the topic is. Like say transportation. Well, Neil knows that I'm really all over transportation. So right now it's like having like say a panel. Right now we have a panel coming on. I'm not sure if we will keep with that panel. Most likely we will. It's just on how many guests that we're going to have on that panel.
it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see. You speak of a panel. It'd be interesting to see one made up of somebody from each province and territory.
That would be
To see what the
interesting, actually.
difference. What is the different experience in the different parts of the country?
That's actually what I was.
That's a really good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you must be just reading my mind on that, because that's what I was just thinking that, because I was like, well, that was kind of actually, yeah, wow. I was just going to talk to Neil about that later, because that was kind of one of the thoughts, was picking certain people from certain provinces, or and then eventually all the provinces, and then having them come on and discuss like feedback on it, and then having them kind of them being the guest, and then having other people then kind of weighing in on what they're going through, and revolving it around, so that it's not just like say I could say have you on just as an example, and then there'll be a bunch of people panel, like say around different provinces, right? And then have one of them come on and be, instead of you like on, but you'd be on the panel now listening and chiming into your feedback to what they're going through, and then having everybody interacting with everybody. I think that's a neat way of going forward, and really focusing on that, and growing the channel, and growing the podcast into a lot more opportunities, for sure. Because I think that
Brent and I want to give out swag, but we have to get more subs to get swag.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we need to get more people to subscribe to the channel. I mean, views are totally awesome, and I really love.
The views are high.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I checked just today, and right now we're hitting. It's 150 views per day right now.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow. I was actually shocked.
Very, very
like
impressed.
150 views. Like that's the average for this month, and actually last month. And I think even the month before, it's been averaging the last 3 months. It's been averaging 150 views per day.
It's becoming very popular
on the channel. So that's like really high numbers considering like our low sub count.
Yeah, I had a neighbor just recently, you guys, and said, "Are you running a podcast?" They said, because I was watching, and they're like, do you have like a brother or something? I go, well, I do, but he would never do a podcast. Like, no, the guy looks just like you. I go, no, that's actually me. what?
Hmm.
Yeah, I was actually watching a show, and I said, yeah, that's actually me. It's like, oh my, I thought so. I thought, yeah, like, so I mean, that goes to show that the popularity of the podcast is really getting out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if you like,
I've noticed that the YouTube metrics are starting to open up a bit more. I've told you that I mean,
Mhm.
I think the first like year, for whatever reason, the metrics of YouTube don't play nice for new YouTube channels.
Yeah.
And so now they've just kind of, you can kind of see everything kind of relax a little bit, and and the visibility is improving after a year of doing this now.
Oh
They've-
yeah,
they've kind of relaxed the metrics enough that we're getting more, we're getting pushed out a bit more now, which is nice.
that's oh,
I
totally.
think that's great. I think part of it is, you know, with the new laws about news, and you know, the internet companies having to pay,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
not promoting Canadian news as much anymore. So, you know, this is kind of filling the gap that the news was providing. You know, like, if you search Google or Facebook for any kind of news, forget it. You're not going to find real stuff. So, you know, this is as
If you
close as
search
it gets.
Google for PWD podcast, it'll come up.
Yeah,
Excellent.
well, even just you could do different searches, but one of them is like Disability Podcast Canada.
Yes.
If you do that one, we come up as the top podcast in the list. It has a short list of maybe 10 other podcasts, and you come up, yours come up, Brent, is number 1.
Wow.
Wow.
We're like first in the list, and not to say that we're number 1 as far as viewership goes, but it's cool that we're listed first. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
So it's kind of neat.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, most definitely. So, I want to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas, Patrick.
And same to you and yours and Sonia and
Same to you.
Daddy Long. Yeah, thank you.
Sonia's gonna jump in here for 1 second. Here, hang on. Here we are. Okay, there we are.
You see me?
Yeah, no, you have to just lean in there.
I'm coming.
Okay, there you are.
Merry Christmas.
Hi there. Merry
Bye.
Christmas.
Merry
We
Christmas.
wish you a Merry Christmas.
We
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
and a
And a happy
New
Year.
Year.
Oh, hi, puppy.
There he is. Hey,
Hi.
Finley.
Hey, puppy.
What do you think? Hey, what
What's
do you
his
think?
name?
This is Finley.
Finley.
Hey,
Finley.
Finley.
Bye, Finley.
Finley. Finley. Hey,
Hi,
who's
Finley.
that?
He reminds
Can
me
you
of
see? Can you see?
Clifford, the big red dog.
Oh,
He
yeah.
reminds me-
So huge.
He's like he reminds me of a Muppet. Like,
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
if Grover was black, he would look like Finley.
Right.
Yeah. If
Uh,
Finley was blue, he'd look like Grover.
Yeah.
But he's kind of got the temperament of Elmo.
Oh,
yeah.
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 I haven't found his tickler spot yet, though.
That's funny.
Oh.
What do you? Yeah. Oh. What? What?
He says it's time to pay attention to me now.
I think he wants
Yeah.
dinner. He wants to eat. So, it's about that time, eh? Ben,
Oh,
you
yes.
hungry? Yeah.
Has
Yeah.
dinner time for the doggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will never let you forget mealtime.
That's true.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So we'll reach out to you in the early part of the new year, and we'll touch base with you then. Probably
Sounds
sometime between January and March. I'll give you a little heads up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Take
Yeah.
care, everybody, and
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Cheers, Patrick.
Yeah. Merry Christmas and Happy
Merry
New Year
Christmas.
to you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
care.
Patrick.